True talk with ShugaRose. True talk with ShugaRose.
Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Chronicles of ShugaRose. So today we're going to talk about domestic staff, living with domestic staff, having domestic staff around your children. You know what I'm talking about, like a house girl, house boy kind of thing, So I'm going to use myself again as a case in point. And you know that, like I said, this is my story and I don't want you to pity me. I want you to learn from it. I'm not going to tell you the moral of the story. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you the story, and then you on your own, you pick up the moral of the story. So I remember when I was 7 years old, right? Like I told you, I was born with a silver spoon, and my parents are always traveling. They're hardly around, Mom traveling, trying to make ends meet. Dad traveling, doing his own thing. So we were always with the house help, like the domestic staff were always with them. A lot of stuff that we learned was from them, So this particular day, I was just bored, so I went to one of the domestic staff's room. I don't even know what took me there. I don't know what carry me go there, but I sure went there. You know me with my inquisitiveness. I went there, looked around, and then my eye sighted something, a stack of magazines. I went and I opened it. Boom. All these, the Papa Jasco, like all these erotic magazines were there. One mind, at the back of my mind was like, don't look at it, don't open it, just look away. But that bad instinct, that bad spirit were there for people body now made me to open it. I was now scrolling through. I was now seeing, all kinds of stuff. Man, bola, the different sizes of bola. At that age, I was 7 years old, So as I was, scrolling through it now, boom, here comes the domestic staff. He walked in. He said, "What are you doing here?" So I was like fidgeting. He said, "Come, let me show you." I went to him with the magazines and he brought out more. He said, "Do you like what you're seeing?" I'm looking at him like, "Winnie, what is wrong with you?" But I couldn't say no. I couldn't say yes. Now let me pause it right there. You see, growing up, you have to teach your children how to be confident enough to say no, how to be confident to express themselves. Now, if I was taught how to, how to express myself, I think I would have confidently, with all boldness, say, "No, this is all shades of wrong," and all that, and walk away, right? But I didn't. I wasn't taught that way, So I was now listening to him. I was even scared of the domestic staff, So he asked me if I wanted to see more. Me, I didn't say yes, I didn't say no. I can still remember this like it was yesterday. And this was when I was 7 years old. Anyways, so he now told me to sit. I sat, and then he was now scrolling. He was now showing me different sizes and all that stuff. And then he showed me the one that, man and woman did. They do and all that stuff. So he said that it's because I'm young, that when I'm grown, maybe like when I'm 13, and if he's still there, that he's going to teach me how to practicalize it, So he was now telling me that the big ones, it's not all about the size, it's how you use it. Now, mind you, I was 7 years old. And then after that, I became very uncomfortable. I said I wanted to leave. So he said I should go and then I should come back the next day. I said, "I'm not coming back, And he called me back. He said if I told my mom or my elder ones that I was going to be in deep trouble. So I said, whatever. I walked away, But all through that night, I could not sleep. I was thinking. My mind was going 360. Like, what could it be? Now, two things that my mind was doing. I was like, is this the right thing? And then I want to know more, So I kept it to myself. The next morning, domestic staff came doing his own thing, like nothing happened, whistling and everything. And I was looking at him like, how could he just have all those piles of, erotic magazines? Is he practicalizing it and all that stuff? So it was really disturbing, to say the least, And that next day now, I said I wasn't going to go there, right? I found myself knocking at his door, his room. I knocked at the door and he opened and smiled and said he knew I was going to come. I said, I felt somehow though, but I really wanted to go, So as time went on, fast forward, he showed me a whole lot of stuff. The things that I knew at that age was too much for me to assimilate at that age, but I grasped everything. So one day I wanted to show it to my friends at school. I snuck one of the magazines, put them in my school bag. Boom, I went to school. That unfortunate day, my math teacher was, I didn't like my math teacher growing up. I know how many of you don't like my math teacher. Me, number one, I'm sure that's one of the reasons why I studied law. I don't like my math teacher at all because she was too strict. But now that I'm, grown, I can't remember the reason why they street like that, So wetin can happen? So my math teacher came, and before my math teacher came, I brought out the magazine and I was showing it to a group of my classmates. Some of them were like, wow. Some were not too happy about it. So one of them now went and told my math teacher. My math teacher called me. I sat on, immediately I took the magazine and I sat on it. You know how it works. She said, make I stand up. I stand up, I see the magazine. She collected the magazine from me and then boom, she called my parents. So now this is the interesting part of it. When she called my parents now, she now told my parents, my dad didn't say nothing. My dad just walked away. My dad said my mom should deal with it. Now, here is the thing. Let me pause a little bit right there. Growing up, training a child is not the job of the mother alone. That's what the African men always think. They think that the job of training a child is the mother alone. It's not the mother. It takes the two of them, the mother and the father. Now, if my dad had sat me down and spoken to me and all that, I think I would have listened more. But my mom, in her own case, she was yelling. I remember in my last episode, I talked about not yelling at children. You have to talk to them, talk to them, not yelling. Oh my God, where did you come from? I told you that you're going to be my downfall. Hey, my Lord, what is this? You're very stupid. You don't even have sense. Why should you get this thing and all that? That was all that was coming out from my mother's mouth. Even the teacher was telling her to calm down. My mom said, if I ever see you with this magazine again, I will deal with you, and then you know that I am your mother. She said all the things that she wasn't supposed to say at that time. My dad walked away, So, and that was the only time my mom said something about it. Boom. Did she ask me where I got it from? No, she did not. Did she sit me down and ask me why? Because in everything that you're doing in life, there must be a reason. So what is the why in it? She didn't ask me. She just threatened me and whined my ear and everything. And that was it. If I ever see you with this magazine again, I will deal with you. I will put an everlasting mark on your body. Now you will know that I am your mom and all that stuff. Did it take away the fact that I really want to see it again? No. Anyways, that one aside, so you would think that I wasn't going to look at it again, right? Now I will tell you the real part. So back to what I was saying, You would think that the story ended there, like I had stopped looking at all the erotic magazines at the age of 7. No, it didn't stop there. You would think that when my mom yelled at me and whined my ear, twisted my ear like a clock, you would think it ended there, right? You would think that when my dad just looked at me and, like shook his head like this and walked away, you think that it ended there. No, it did not. Actually, my inquisitiveness grew, Now, here's the thing. If my mom had called me, sat me down and asked me why I did that, number one, who gave it to me? How long has this been happening? Do I know the implication, the negative impact of that? If my mom had sat me down and spoken to me one-on-one like a mother-child, maybe I would have understood it. And not just talking to me once, constant communication, constant, telling me that, look, listen, this thing has an adverse effect on you and all that. Maybe gradually I would have, removed myself, detached myself from looking at those magazines, But she just spoke to me that one time, yelled at me that one time, spanked me that one time, and that was it. She never talked about it. But me on my own, I was too far deep in it. You understand? So anyways, fast forward, when I was in high school, I started using that magazines, experimenting it on myself. So when I open the magazines, and I was like, okay, you know what? I was doing what they were doing on the magazine. I was experimenting it on myself. So let me digress a little bit. The house help, the domestic staff that was teaching me all of that, he eventually left, not because he did something wrong, not because my parents scolded him, not because my parents asked me where did I get it from, and I said it was this guy, and then he got fired. No, I think he got something else and then he left. But before he left, he gave me those magazines. Those magazines, I hid them under my bed. Up until nobody knew about that magazine. So anyways, growing up, when I was in high school, I took those magazines. I was trying to experiment, the one that they have just them, just the woman, or just I was experimenting it on myself. So now, one unfortunate day in high school, what we call secondary school back home, I took these magazines. I was showing it to a few. I showed it to one person, and then that person told the other person that I have this kind of magazine. And then back in the days, it's not now that everything is just out there. Back in the days, things like this, they're very they're like gold mine. You don't see it often. You don't see it outside like that. And then when they see you with it, it's like an abomination, like, oh, a taboo. So me having it, I was like a little queen in my circle, So anybody that wants to see it will have to come to me and beg me, that they want to see it. And I became a pro in it. I started telling them, okay, so this is how this one, everything that the domestic staff taught me, I was teaching them. And I was talking in such a way that everybody was looking at me like, oh, wow. I mean, So one of the young ladies then didn't find it. It didn't go down well with her. So she had to report the matter to the assistant to the vice principal. And they called me. And they said for me to bring out the magazine. I brought out this erotic magazine. Not all of them, just one. And they called my parents again. This time around, my dad didn't show up. But my mom did show up. So when my mom came, my mom was crying and said, oh, she thought that, I had stopped this and all that stuff. How can I stop it? Who is there to tell me to stop it? You only spoke to me once when I was 7 years old. And you never followed up with me. You never followed up and nobody cared. In as much as now, I'm going to digress a little bit. I said in my former episode, right? Yes, I was born with a silver spoon. and we didn't lack anything growing up, but there's that one thing that we lacked, is that love. My mom is there busy trying to, you know, make us very comfortable. My dad is trying to make us very comfortable. How many of them, when did they actually sit us down or sat us down and talk to us? I'm talking about myself now. You know, that one-on-one mother daughter conversation, I never had it growing up, and that is why I instilled it. I poured it on my daughters. The way I speak to my daughters, you'll be like, are you guys besties or friends or something? Yeah, because all those things that my mom didn't teach me, I was teaching my daughters. And if I see something that is not right, after speaking to them today, it's not the end. I go still talk. And me now, my husband will tell you that one. I can stress matter. I will stress matter until my mind has told me that, okay, this person has understood it. It don't do, you know. So this is me. So because of the way I grew up, I have learned to train my daughters, my children, my son too, in a special kind of way, in the sense that at this point now where I did, and at them, they talk to me, they advise me, they train me in such a way. Back to my story. So my mom now, they now called my mom. My mom saw this magazine and started crying. Well, to me, I felt that was a crocodile tears because it was too late. I was far deep into it, you know. So they had to expel me for 3 days for not to show up to work. To school. At that point, my mom now said, what have I done wrong? Where have I as in, where have I gone wrong? I am trying my best to make sure that you guys are comfortable and make sure that you are comfortable. Your dad is doing the best that he can. This one, that one. You know, from being an African child, I could not tell my mom that, Mommy, shut up. The things that you're supposed to do, you were not doing it. It's not all about material things, you know. But I couldn't say that with my African self and all that, you know. One thing I know that my mom taught us is not to be disrespectful. But anyways, that one aside. So now, after that, you would think that I stopped, right? Good. I didn't stop there. After my mom cried and everything, I felt somehow, but... And now, when I went back to school, well, I didn't go with the magazines anything anymore. I had to sympathize. I pitied my mom. I wasn't looking into all those erotic magazines. But guess what? Everything is in here. They were in my head. I put everything there. Now, I had to experiment it. Now I have gotten to the age that I want to try it, you know. So I met this boy, and the boy was asking me for the magazine, and I told him I didn't have it. He now said that he wanted to, he was asking me 1 or 2 questions, and I said, okay, let me show you. And I took his hands and I put it in my whatever. It was kind of different from how I was doing it by myself, how I was experimenting it, you know. But when after that, he went to start, you know, like he started threatening me, like if we don't try it again, he's gonna tell everyone that this is what we did and all that stuff. It was messy. It was really embarrassing. Thinking about it now, I feel dirty, you know. It's not something that I derive pleasure doing, but bottom line, the reason why I'm going deeper and saying all of this, when you catch your child doing something, don't just reprimand, don't just yell. It has to do with constant communication. It's like a physical, it's like a therapy, you know. So what I'm trying to say is this: learn not to leave your children 100% around domestic staff. And now, don't get me wrong, there are some domestic staff that are wonderful. As a matter of fact, God-fearing. They're like, they just fell from heaven, angels. And then there are some domestic staff that are like weapons fashioned against you. You know, the heart of men are very deep. So we don't know who be who. But be that as it may, bottom line, no leave your pikin with domestic staff. Make it be say the domestic staff na him they train the pikin from Genesis to Revelation. Wetin come be your work inside? You know, domestic staff na domestic staff. Make them they do wetin they supposed do for house. It is not for them to start doing the job in the house chores, and then start training your own child at the same time. Then what are you there? A vegetable? You know what I'm saying? So what my parents failed to do, they were busy trying to make us comfortable, but the emotional part of it, their minds no go there. You know, maybe because my mom, she didn't actually grow up with, you know, all those riches and stuff. So when she can't handle them now, she won't come spoil her children. She won't make sure say her kids got everything that money had to buy at the time. You know, and this is what we as parents, we fail to do. We are all into the material things. We're looking for things that will make them comfortable. What of the emotional things? What of the emotional aspect of it? Now, let me tell you a short story, right? Long ago, somebody told us this story, and I'm sure it was my mom. It was my mom that told us this story. So there's this woman now. She had this wonderful, beautiful boy child. She spoiled, pampered this boy child. The child grew up to be one of the most handsome boy in their area at that time, you know. So as time went on now, the boy turned 19, and before that, when the boy was 10 years, the boy they thief, the boy they look for trouble. He go break somebody motor windscreen, and then when they come, the mom will now be, you know, supporting him, shielding him. Oh, my son did not do this, it was a mistake, my son is this, my son is that. Always covering for the boy. The boy to the mom, the boy is a saint. He doesn't do anything wrong, you know. So one time the boy went to steal. When the boy went to steal, the mom came and covered up for everything. The mom is always shielding him. The mom will never reprimand the boy. Even in public, when the boy is yelling at the mom, insulting the boy, when people try to say something, the mom is like, oh no, I'm gonna leave him now, my son, no worry, you know. One unfaithful day, the boy went and robbed a bank, and he was arrested. And after all of that, they said he was going to be, I think it was life imprisonment they gave him because he stole and he killed. So it was a case of a case of an accumulated, compiled, you know, sentence. So it was time for them to execute him. So on the day of execution, he called his mom. You know, he said he wanted to tell his mom something. So as the mom came now, he now told the mom to bring her ears, make it tell him something. The mom brought her ear closer, waiting can happen. What I we don't know is the chabre mommy auntie. He beat the ear so much that beat it out, spat it away. You know, by the time people could come and rush the mom out of the scene, he had already beaten the mom's ear and, you know, spat it out. And then he told his mom, he said, every time you touch your ears and you see that wound, that scar, remember that you never trained me. Every time I'm doing something wrong, you never cautioned me. You made me who I am today. Now I'm going to be executed. They're going to kill me, and it's all your fault. So every time you touch your ears, you will remember that this is what you did to me. What am I saying? We will think that we're protecting our children. We're covering for the children. We're doing this. We're doing that. My dear, Now spoil they spoil that pikin, and that is why when they grow up, they become a bad wife, they become a bad husband, they become a bad friend. All of that, it's from home. They say charity begins from home. So Obeni, train your pikin. If you know sabi train your pikin, no born. There's no point. And don't think that you're providing for the child. And then another thing that we parents we do, we try to make the house help feel like slaves. Oh, when back in the days, we saw how our forefathers were treated. You know, why are you trying to treat somebody else's child like that and then make your child what a saint? You see, in life, now that house girl, now they turn out to be somebody in future. That your pikin where you spend all heaven and earth, now they be the spoiled person inside. A child at 18, you can't cook, you can't clean. All you know how to do is just to talk and be very insultive. What kind of child is that? Obeni, mama and papa, you people should try and be training your children well. Train your children well. Look at what happened to me. If I had not trained myself, I had to caution myself, because if I had followed what I was doing back growing up, because I would blame it on my mom, my children would be non-entities today, God forbid. But I used the mistakes of my parents to rectify, to be able to train and pour positivity on my own children and other people's children. That's why when other people's children see me, they receive me with open arms. They love me. Why? Because of the way I treat them. I'm not going to spoil them and say, okay, because they did something wrong, I'm going to turn a blind eye. Well, they know me, you know. When I was the choir mistress for the children's choir, you will not believe the love. You would think I am the mother of all those 36 or 30 something children. You know, they love me. And because I talk to them, I don't yell at them, I talk to them. But when it gets out of time, sometimes I pretend that I am very upset, that they've broken my heart, but I'm just passing a message there. You know, so this topic is for us to learn how to treat our children around domestic staff and how to talk to our children and reprimand them. You know, you take this hand, you spank them, you use this hand to bring them back. The next topic that I'm going to talk about is about one politician where I date, where at the end of the day I can't use Ghana must go, come run. That is one interesting story that you have to learn from. And like I said, my story, I am not telling you the moral of the story. I am just giving you my story so that you will learn from it. Because like I always say, it takes a strong person to be able to come out in public and tell the story for you to learn from it. So my brothers and my sisters, this na ShugaRose they talk, and this program na the Chronicles of ShugaRose. I beg make una subscribe, make una share. Thank you, and then wait for the next episode of how I ran away with Ghana must go from politician hand. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.